Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be playing the back nine of the gold layout we've got set up. Here are the scores after the front nine. Be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of thing. Hole 10, we've moved up a little forward and a little bit to the left to create kind of a better angle, I think, so you don't just have to throw it over the corner. You can actually hit more of a true line here. I'm throwing a big turn over here, and it's looking really good. Gets kind of a unfortunate cut roll action on the green, but I'll have a putt for two. Looks like Tom's lining up his standard forehand layup shot here. Kind of play this one for a three in two parts. And he's put himself past the layup area, and he's going to have a tough second shot for sure. Crone going with the backhand turnover. It's looking good. He clips one of the last pine trees, but he'll have another putt for second birdie of the round. Tom tries to get out of trouble with the forehand roller, but he leaves himself about 50 feet short. He's going to have a long putt for par. Looks like Crone's up
Great
next.
throw.
He's got a circle two look for a birdie. A little high, but he'll have a pretty easy comebacker for par. And Tom's got this for par. Oh, good look. Looks like it was just short. That'll be an unfortunate bogey after trying to play a safe tee shot. Tom usually plays it forehand, tap in three. I've got a circle two look after rolling out of the circle. Just a little bit short. I'll have a short tap in. Tom taps in his bogey, and Jason's got this left for par. That's a good putt. Kind of right on that range that you really don't want to miss it. And I tap in my par as well. All right, a little more movement after hole 10. Hole 11, we've stretched out to 1,150 feet. It's about 425 feet just to get to the gap, and then you play down the regular tight fairway. A little bit hard to see here, but you'll be able to see this skip off the path right at the end. And that'll be in pretty good position to get into the regular fairway. Jason had a little false start there after almost tripping over the chain near the tee. This is looking pretty good. It's a little bit farther left than you want to be, but he'll have an open angle through the choke point. This is looking to be the best of the bunch. Yeah, that'll be a very good angle through the choke point for Tom. And Jason is almost parked 18's basket here, but he's got a good angle to get back onto the real fairway here. He throws a big flex shot over the top. And that's back into play that's a great shot for Jason. As you can see, Tom's left himself right in the middle. He's got pretty much wide open full flight distance shot here. And that nicks a branch. Looks like that took a lot off it, and it hyzered out pretty quick. But he's right in the middle. Now my drive actually got a little too far, and I'm kind of pinched off. And instead of kind of cheating the hole and playing along the left side of 11's fairway, going kind of backwards up 14, I'm going to try to get back onto the real fairway with a thumber here. I think if we were to actually play this for a tournament or any kind of official round, we would have to put some kind of mando in there, because as you can see on the left side here, it's all wide open. You could just play on the incorrect fairway pretty much the whole way.
Tough footing.
Tom turns his drive over a little bit, but he stays in bounds. He'll have about 350 feet left.
Yep, good play.
And Crone puts it right in the middle again. He'll have a chance to get up and down for par from there. I'm about 500 feet from the pin and just slightly out of position. I can't really throw a full distance shot from this angle. I'm going to have to throw just kind of a flip up hyzer and play for the par. Really no chance for a birdie from here. That's a little tight on the left side, but it hyzers out safe. I should have a pretty easy pitch up to get my par. Now Tom landed on the stone path a second time here. He kind of pops that one up and it hyzers out into the last pine tree. Should have a pretty easy up and down for his bogey though. And Jason's got a little bit under 300 feet here to get up and down for his par. This would be a great par for an intermediate level player on this hole. It looks like he had some grip issues or slipped a little bit. That was going left the whole way out of his hand. I'm a little bit pinched off on the left side here. We'll have a pretty easy pitch out though. Just throwing a little flex forehand. Yeah, and that settles up nicely. Now Jason and Tom are both kind of in the same spot under this last pine tree. Only about 100 or so feet away, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue to get up and down for their bogeys.
All right.
Now Jason almost throws it in just a little bit low off the pole. He'll have a tap-in bogey. Not too bad for nearly a 1,200-foot hole. And Tom pitches up nicely. He'll have a tap-in bogey as well. And Jason was saying he usually takes a 6 on this hole anyway from the regular tee that's 250 feet closer. So 6 is going to be a great score for him on this hole. And I'm in for a pretty good par on this hole. I think birdies on this layout would be very difficult. You're going to need a good drive and good position, and then a big second, a big third shot as well. So for those of you familiar with the property, we're kind of in the corner of the property, so there wasn't too much room to do much with this hole here, but we moved it over a little bit to the left to give you more of a straight view of the basket to entice that ace run line. Doesn't really change the hole too much. Players with good forehands are probably just going to throw a big wide forehand. But if you don't have a forehand, it's a pretty touchy straight backhand shot. And I thought that was short out of my hand, but ended up being a pretty good shot. Kind of ace ran it, just a few feet short. Jason's turned this over a little too much. And hard to say. Looks like it might have rolled out of bounds, but we'll see. Tom's opting for the forehand as well. This looks like it's a bit too straight. Gets into pine tree up near the green.
He's on the line. Oh yeah, for sure. You got like a whole like half an inch on the disc.
Looks like Crone barely stayed in.
Tom, where are you?
He'll have a probably just inside the circle putt, but fairly obstructed by this tree in front of him.
It's the ones you don't think about.
You just got to laugh that one off and try to focus on the next putt. Tom from just outside the circle leaves it just short for the birdie. He'll have to settle for the par. And Jason's got this this tester to save par. No problem. That was a good putt after the unfortunate tree kick on his birdie putt. I've got this tap in for a birdie. That's a pretty good two. This is one that you really want to get at the open level. Only 250-ish feet with not really any obstacles. So I pick up another stroke on the gang there. 13, we've moved back about 50 feet, and it was really surprising how much just 50 feet made this hole feel a lot tighter. It is a scary tunnel shot now. You've got to go perfectly straight. Fairway's only about 35 feet wide. This is just a little bit left. Fights through some of the limbs, but slowed it down enough that it didn't reach the green. And Jason really commits to this and turns it way over. That actually
Didn't hit the sign.
might be out into the next fairway.
You have to throw it straight. You know, there's always gonna hit the space.
This is one, if you can see, the regular tee sign is actually right in front of us here. And it's kind of a magnet we found out. Tom turns that over a little too much, a little bit low, but he's in the center of the fairway. Tom's got about 120 or so feet here, maybe a little more to get up and down for his par.
Hit that.
Oh,
If you had done the spin around in disgust and then tree kicked in.
So Tom got a little tree love there, and Crone's trying a forehand roller. And this, unfortunately, rolls right through the green. He'll be trying to save his par from 11's fairway. I got up to about, 75 or 80 feet short of the green, but I'm kind of pinched under these trees. And I've got the bush in front of the basket to contend with as well, so I just decided to pitch it over the top and take the three. Here's where Crone's roller ended up. He's got a lot of stuff to get through to have any chance here. And he catches a branch on the way through. He's going to have to settle for a bogey. And Tom taps in his par after a good second shot.
Huh? Do you have any gap? A little one. I was going to go Annie, but I figured I had a better chance if I could rip it
And Jason's in for a bogey. Kind of landed in a tough spot after the drive, and the roller didn't work out for him. Hole 14, we moved just a little bit to the left of the regular tee, and it turns the drive into more of a hyzer than a pure distance shot if you go down the middle. There's also a potential turnover line if you've got a really big arm, but I'm going to try to throw the hyzer and get it to flip up a little bit. And this doesn't look like it's flipping up at all. And that finishes a little bit short of the basket, but pretty far left. And this is probably just out of Tom's range, so it looks like he tried to put a little too much on that and grip locked it a little bit, and he's way to the right side. And I'm not sure if Jason was trying to play over this way. It looked like a little bit of an early release, but he's on the far left side of the fairway. But he's got a good window in between these trees. And it looks like he caught a branch on the way through, and he's going to have a edge of the circle putt, try to save his par. Tom is way off in no man's land here, trying to throw a miracle recovery shot that didn't quite work out. I think he was expecting the tailwind to push that one a little bit closer to the basket. I don't really have any shot here. I'm just going to try to pitch this out and take my 3. And that'll do. Not really much more I could do from there. Tom's got about a probably 45, 50 footer from here. And that one never really had a chance. He'll be tapping in a bogey. And Jason's got this from the edge of the circle. Oh, just a tiny bit short. It was a slightly uphill putt. Probably would have had it on flat ground. And I'm in for another par. Tom taps in his bogey, and Jason will be tapping in a bogey as well. That was a good display of what just the extra distance will get you on a hole like that. 15, we've pushed way to the left. It's a big downhill shot, really tricky angle. You've got to throw a hyzer, flip up to flat, and then kind of glide into the green. We had a pretty strong left to right wind, so I wasn't trying to flirt with the OB on the right, so I just threw a big hyzer, let this one finish to the left. This is going to be probably 150 feet short, but this one is a very hard par 3, especially with the wind we were throwing in. Tom plays pretty much the same shot I did, just a big hyzer.
Is that the US DGC, right? Yeah.
We're both going to be finishing around the mound down at the bottom of the hill. And Crone flexes this one over a little bit, but it comes back at the last minute. He'll be in the fairway as well. We're all a little shorter than we'd like to be. And we're all going to be playing through this field goal here over the mound. And you can see that hit the tree line on the right side of the screen there. That's going to be close to the out of bounds line near the basket.
That's a good start.
Now, I didn't have much of an angle here to do anything. I thought about this one for a while. This is kind of a desperation forehand. I can I can see this first gap, but then I'm going to have to fight through some trees to get near the basket. It's looking good. And it looks like it made it all the way through. But this basket's got OB very close to it. That's going to be flirting with it. Tom's, that's not a very good effort from there.
Throwing it straight OB.
I think he was trying to throw that a little bit flatter. And Jason and I are checking our shots here.
I think it's in.
We're both very close. Crone was definitely in, and I was on the line, so we both landed safely. There's a good putt from Jason from just outside the circle to save his par. And here's Tom from about the same distance. He also stayed in, actually. And he leaves it just short. Actually, almost goes out of bounds. That would have been a double bad luck there if he had rolled out of bounds on the putt. I don't love the basket in this position. I think the OB is just a little bit too close to it. You can see all three of us threw pretty good shots, and if you're in the circle and out of bounds, that's kind of unfair in my book. But Tom takes the lone bogey there. That's a pretty tough hole. Very hard hole to two. 16, we've moved over to the left in between some pine trees. This is one that if we were ever to put this in as a more permanent tee, we would trim some of these branches. But as it is now, you can pretty much just throw a huge hyzer if you've got the power. Otherwise, it's more of a straight shot. And I'm throwing just a huge hyzer here, and you'll see this one finish right under the basket. This is a pretty easy hole if you've got the distance to throw a hyzer. Otherwise, it's kind of tricky trying to throw a straight 300-foot shot into the headwind we've got here. Jason turned that over a little bit too far to the right. And Tom doesn't like that one. He just threw it straight to the right. And he's over by Seven's tee pad, it looks like. Jason kind of got a tough stance here under a tree. He's got to go under the branches and then over the mound in front of the basket.
No.
He just splashes out. Would have been the shot of the round for sure. Managed to get it over the mound, but it splashed out. And Tom from way off on the right side, he's just going to pitch up and play for his three. And Tom will tap in a three. This is one you definitely want to get. One of the shorter holes on this layout. And not really any obstacles in your way other than the mound in front of the basket. But these guys showed you if you don't have the power to throw a hyzer the whole way, it's a little tougher in the headwind. 17, we've moved up. It's actually shorter than the regular tee, but it's pushed farther to the left. It's a bit more of a real shot angle as opposed to the regular tee that pretty much everyone is going to take a three on all the way through. Probably good intermediate players all the way to open players are going to have the same score. So we tried to change this one a little bit to offer some more scoring separation. I try to go up top with a big hyzer, but
I don't actually know where that disc went.
the wind pushed that way left.
Sweet.
Should be about pin high, but the wind just carried that much too far to the left. Crone's got a pretty good looking drive here. Oh, and it catches a tree branch, but he's safe in the middle of the fairway. He should have a pretty easy upshot from there. Tom lines up a pretty low inside line and just catches the edge of the pine tree. That probably would have been a pretty good looking shot if he could have got it past the guardian branches there. But Tom and Jason both have about 120 feet left here. Slightly uphill. And Tom's went a little bit long, but he should be inside 20 feet. And Crone's got to contend with the silo here. Oh, he actually gave that a little bit of a run over the top. This is where my drive ended up. I actually ended up in not a bad position at all. About 40 feet from the pin here. Playing into a pretty good headwind, though. This is one I really wanted. Thought about this one for a bit. And then never gave it a chance. I think the silo got in my head. I didn't want to miss it and have it hit the silo and roll around to the side and have a obstructed putt coming back. And Jason leaves it just short. That's a tough miss there. That's one you want to get for sure. About a 20-footer. Tom shows him how it's done. That's one of the main differences in the 50-point rating difference between the two of them. Just a little bit more consistent from that 20, 25-foot range. I tap in my 3, and going into 18, we've got the only hole on the course that we left as is. I think this one is a very solid gold level hole. Takes a big tee shot, then an accurate second shot. And it's hard to tell on camera here, but we're playing into a stiff headwind. And this just, right out of my hand, started moving right. And once it got turned over, the wind just kept moving right.
Well, it's way right.
I got a lot of distance out of that one, but it is very far off the fairway.
I wouldn't try to flex it. I would throw something overstable and throw it flat.
And I tried to give Tom some advice, but apparently I didn't.
They come back at all? Yeah. Okay.
He turned it over as well, and he'll be off on the right side. And Jason has turned it over as well. All three of us underestimated that headwind. Jason actually landed in a pretty good spot to play up the fairway. He's turned this over a ton into a roller. It's actually cut rolling back towards the fairway.
If that's what you were trying to do, that's amazing.
Not sure if that's what he was trying to do, but it ended up working out pretty well. Tom's in a pretty good position to throw a big turnover shot here. And this is looking good. Turning toward the basket. And he's about 120 feet short, right in the middle of the fairway. I've never been over here before. I'm way on the wrong side of these pine trees. I was thinking about trying to throw a giant flex shot, but I thought better of it, and I'm just going to play a big hyzer here and try to get back into the fairway. Yeah, we're back onto the right fairway. And Jason's got a chance to go backdoor around these last pine trees. He gets it high enough. Is it going to work enough to the left? Oh, you see it? Finish right on the mound. He'll have a chance for par after a great third shot. This is where my second shot came back into the fairway. We had a little hiccup here with the filming, so this is me trying to rethrow my upshot. The scores will be slightly different than what you see on camera here. Tom lays it up nice. He'll have about a 15-footer for par. And I'm playing the shot that you saw on film there. My first shot was pretty much parked. So of course I missed the one that we get on camera, but we'll take a 4 on the scorecard. And Crone makes a great par on the pretty tricky hole 18. It took a great third shot to land on the mound. And Tom's got this for par as well. And he's in for a good par. Tom played that pretty much textbook. A little bit right off the tee. Good second shot. And then an easy pitch up and putt for par. And I'm just tapping this one in. This will be my 5th throw, but as I said, we kind of missed a couple shots on camera that I took a 4 on. So that finishes up the round. You can see the scoring separation between a 1,000 rated and a 900 rated player. And Tom's kind of right in the middle there. Tom got off to a better start in the front and ran into some trouble in the back. These are the UDisc stats. The one that stood out the most to me was the greens in regulation. I hit circle 2 56% of the time, and Tom was down at 17, and Crone a little bit lower than that. That gave me the opportunity to be putting for long birdies and then tapping in pars, whereas these guys were needing to throw bigger shots. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.